I'm Ellen McCauley, and I'm at Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. And I'm kind of excited about tonight's meeting because doing this for 10 years, you always seem to talk about similar things with a different slant, you know. And every week I like to talk about God and exercise and eating healthy, you know, move more or eat healthy and less, and ask God to help us. And never once in that 10 years have I done an entire meeting or even addressed the topic of being too busy to pray, too busy to eat healthy, or too busy to exercise. So tonight's meeting is on being too busy. And I think I've heard it from just about everyone at the scale. I was just too busy this week. I was too busy. And tonight we're going to talk about it. Let's go to the back of the food logs, everyone, and you'll see a prayer in busyness. I pray each week, I say, Lord Jesus, what do you want me to tell these people this next week? And I opened up one of my books, and the prayer for that day was a prayer in busyness. And I looked to heaven, I said, yes, yes, that's the perfect topic, Lord, thank you. So let's say this prayer together. Dear God, I try to balance my schedule, but I fear I have overcommitted myself once again. I have fallen in the trap of busyness. Help me to overcome this tendency to be overly busy. It really is an empty way of life, and it keeps me from being fully productive for you. Give me a clear sense of your calling and the wisdom to know which things are worth doing and which things I should pass up. Empower me to make the most of the time you've given me. Teach us to realize the brevity of life so that we may grow in wisdom. Psalm 90:12. Beautiful. And the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is you're too busy to even notice you're too busy. You know, you don't even notice. This is your life. You know, you get up, you get dressed, you go to work, you take the kids here, you get the lunches ready, you come home, you make dinner, you go to this committee, that group, and you're exhausted, not getting enough sleep, not eating healthily. And I really think there's a difference between being really busy and being busy because you think it makes you seem important. You know, I see people who are like, I'm so busy. And I go, really? You know, interesting. You know, are they really too busy? And there is a busyness in life. You can't tell me that a mother of children or father of children who works full time and has kids that need to go here and there and they're trying to take care of themselves, you can't tell me they're not busy. I believe they're busy. And I think there's a certain value to having a productive life. But when that busyness gets in the way of being healthy or even praying, if you're too busy to pray, you're too busy. So let's talk about that. And a lot of people who are busy because they think it makes them seem important always complain about it. Do you ever notice that? They're always like, I'm so busy. I couldn't remember your birthday. I'm so busy. I couldn't do a thank you. How can I do thank you notes? I'm too busy. My opinion, and again, it's my subjective normalcy, is you should never be too busy to be kind, too busy to be thoughtful, too busy to remember someone's special occasion or to be grateful or to be thankful. And you need to take your life and say, what do I need to do so that the things that are most important I can get done? And if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of anything else in life? How can you have the energy, the strength, the gusto to do what you really need to do? Many people have to work exhausting hours simply to survive. I am not diminishing anything, but how many times do we put things into our lives that really, I mean, do you have to watch every episode of The Voice? I mean, it's on 10 times a week. You know, I mean, do you think you could free up huge buckets of time if you said, maybe I'll give up? People say to me, I can't believe you don't watch The Voice because you love it. And I said, I'm sure I would love it, but I think I'd have to like commit huge buckets of time to it. And I have other things I choose to do with my time. I want to watch The Voice, I just choose not to. Also, we're always in a hurry, even when we don't need to hurry. You know, we think that, you know, if we're not rushing here, rushing there. And do you ever like sometimes say, wait a minute, I'm not doing anything right now. Shouldn't I be doing something? And we're almost like feeling like we're on this treadmill of life. You know, I got to be busy, busy, busy. Also, we sometimes avoid dealing with life's really big issues because we're so busy running from task to task to task. You know, there's people who say, I'm so busy, I didn't hear there's a shooting in Las Vegas, people died. And you think, how could they not know about that? Do you not watch the news or read a paper and they say I'm too busy? Now, I'm not diminishing that, I'm just surprised because I consider myself an extremely active person. I don't even like the word busy. You will never hear me say I'm too busy because I get offended with that because one time a friend who I thought I was very close to and never forgot their birthday called me in September and said, yeah, I know you had a birthday in June and happy birthday, but geez, I was just so busy all summer long and I just didn't get a chance to call or send you a card or anything. I said, oh, well, okay. You know, they wanted me to say, oh, that's okay. I'm sure you were too busy to remember a friend you've had for 40 years. And I wasn't going to let them off the hook that easy. I wasn't going to do it. I just said, okay. And then they went on and on, telling me how busy they were. And as they went on and on telling me how busy they were, I felt like what she was saying was, I'm too busy for you. And I never forgot that conversation. And I always said to myself, make sure you never say to people, you're too busy for you. And I even say to people, if I don't return your call or your text, I say, I'll get you on Sunday. Sunday's a good day for me. I have a whole bucket of time where I answer calls and emails. Also, this is something, 36%, they did a survey of 1,000 salaried employees did not take their full vacation. And there's a lot of people who, if they don't take their vacation, they lose it. They lose it. Now, I at the county don't take all my vacation, and it just rolls, baby. It rolls. And I love that because I can use it on the back end for retirement. I can use it for things. So I'm not losing it. But sometimes I think, maybe I should take a couple days off. I'm tired. I need a break. And there's nothing wrong with that either. If you have a day off, take a day off. And so many times people think they're busy because they feel like they have a control about life. I'm so busy. I'm in control. I'm busy, busy, busy. And the thing is, so often when you're over busy, you're kind of losing control. You're losing control of your health, your exercise, your sleep. And we really need to take a hard look at our priorities. And one of the things I did, and I'm only telling you that, not to say, oh, Ellen thinks she's so perfect, and Ellen blah, blah, blah. I'm just telling you what I did to share with you some thoughts. I wanted to say the rosary every day, and I wanted to exercise every day, but it was really hard for me to do it at night. I'm just, you know, you get home, I call my mom every night, I'm, you know, working on Pray It Off, I eat dinner, and then it's night, you know. So I said, there's all that time in the morning. You know, if I start going to bed earlier and I get up earlier, and I always want to make sure I have between 7 and 8 hours of sleep. That's all you need when you're 60 plus, is 7 to 8. Maybe I can do more stuff in the morning. So I get up at 5:15. I'm at my office at 6:45. I walk around and I say the rosary every single day. Walk, 20 minutes, briskly. Then I have my morning prayers. Then I exercise in my office for a half hour with the headphones on with weights. And by the time I punch in at 8:30, I've got like 40 minutes of exercise in. I got my prayers in. And I get an hour lunch. I don't know about you, but that's a long time, an hour lunch. Now, I could like go talk to people or fool around, but instead, I exercise for a half hour, and then I work on Pray It Off for a half hour. I've made that bucket of time to do the things that are important to me. I never buy my lunch. I bring it all every week. Bob and I, every Friday night, we talk about the next week. What are we going to eat next week? And then we brainstorm. You feel like this, you feel like that. How about Friday night we have this, Saturday night we have that? How about we do that? And then Saturday morning's grocery shopping, And then Sunday's cooking. We cook most of the food for the week on Sunday. Like Friday night I had salmon. Saturday for lunch I had the salmon again. And then on Tuesday night on a salad, I had the rest of the salmon. Learn to love leftovers. Learn to love making a lot of food, freezing it. We're going to talk more about those things. Also, email messages. Email can capture hours and hours of your time. I always say to people, never send me a joke, never send me a forward. As soon as I see FWD, Ellen, you'll love this, I don't read it. Because I used to get 20 of those a day. I know a lot of people. I have 617 friends on Facebook, and they're always sending me, they were forwards, but I don't want to spend the time. I'm sure some of them are funny. I'm sure some of them are touching. But you start reading all those forwards, there's a half hour. There's an hour. Make a priority. Also, when you say you're too busy to pray, what do you think God's saying then? Really? You're too busy to pray. Oh, but when you want something, honey, you're not too busy to pray then. And so I think it hurts God's feelings. Does anyone else think it hurts God's feelings when you say you're just too busy for God? And so one of the things that's helped me is I try to do a couple of things at once. Now, not too many things at once. If I'm driving to work, I pray the entire way there. I talk to God. We have a big conversation every morning. I tell him what I'm going to do. We laugh. God and I have a couple of yucks in the morning. I think God thinks I'm kind of funny. We have a lot of laughs. And I'm sitting there and people are driving by going, who's she talking to? Is she on the phone? What? That's when I talk to God. And I say my morning prayers, my daily devotions, and every night we eat dinner, and then my beloved husband, who I want to marry, wait a minute, already did, he says, let me clean up while you do your books. So I read the Bible, I read some inspirational books, and my beloved husband, who loves me more than life itself, cleans up. I know I'm lucky, and believe me, I thank God. Don't I thank God for you every night when we say grace?
Every night.
Every night. So, how can we possibly make our relationship with Christ the highest priority of our lives if we have little kids? Or if we're obligated to friends and relatives, or if we're trying to get a boyfriend, or if we're in classes, or if we're planning a wedding, or we have a full-time ministry or a full-time job. We can make Christ the number one priority of our lives by giving it all to him. Having prayer, we think prayer, you got to get on your knees and have Hail Mary, Our Father. Prayer, God wants you to talk to him. To converse. Okay, Lord, I'm taking the kids to school now. Help me not to kill them. Things like that. Little conversations. Also, Jesus gives a parable about this. It says there's a wedding, and he invited all these guests, and everyone was too busy to come. They were saying, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, and everything else was more important than going to this wedding, which was the parable for going to God. And the same thing with Martha and Mary. He says to Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things. And this is the best explanation I've ever found for Martha. Martha's serving and hospitality was not the problem. The problem was that she was attempting to do these things with her own ability without making Jesus her highest priority. And as a result, she was worried, frazzled, and distracted. So without giving those things to God and saying, okay, God, I'm doing this. I had a presentation today, and I was worried about it for several different reasons. So I prayed about it on the work today, and I said, Lord, this is the one reason I'm worried. This is the second reason. And I gave him all the reasons. I said, can you walk with me through this? Can you be with me? Every single thing I gave to God this morning, I was so amazed. I got back to the office and I turned my eyes to heaven. I said, thank you, thank you. And today, my best friend, who was 53 years old when she died, and I loved her more than life itself, today was her daughter's birthday. So I took the time this morning, it was 5:30, and I typed her a message. And I said, Happy birthday, Abby. I just want you to know, being your friend on Facebook, I feel by reading about your life, I share a little bit with your mother each day. And she wrote me immediately back and she said, when I read that, I burst out crying. I felt my mother in heaven was saying happy birthday to me. And you don't know what it meant to me. But if I didn't take the time at 5:30 this morning to do that, when we take the time out of our busy lives to reach out to someone, we never know what it might mean to them. We never know how God is waiting there for us to say, I'm here. When you say you're too busy to pray, that is the time you should be praying. When you say you don't want to come to pray it off because you might have gained weight, that is when you should be here. Also, let us lay aside our hustle and bustle and choose to make time with God our highest priority, even during seasons when it doesn't seem practical to do so. We will never regret one moment spent at the foot of Jesus.